Yah Shalom, beautiful family. We're giving our honor and praises to the supreme power above greatness, who illuminates the hearts of his and her peoples. All of you who have been walking with me for years will remember that I brought portion of this gnosis to you several years ago. And I kept bringing it back to you every chance I get. Today I'm returning to it differently, more personally, more intimately, and most importantly, visually. No longer do I simply want you to hear this gnosis. I want you to see it. The ultimate path of ascension is a return. I repeat, the ultimate path of ascension is a return. A return to mastery of self. A return toward our original state of light and power. And ultimately, a return toward the body of light. This is why the teachings of Christ, the teachings of the Grand Elder Yanak, and the teachings of the ancient elders, the matriarchs, the patriarchs, continually bring us back to the same fundamental principle. Know thyself. Master yourself. There is no greater knowledge than the knowledge and mastery of oneself. In Genesis 1, chapter 26, verse 26 and 27, we find that humanity was created in the image and likeness of the Creator. Psalm 139 declares that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And 1 Corinthians describes the body as a temple. So while we are in the flesh, we learn this temple. We nourish the temple. We protect it. We discipline the temple through nourishment, movement, breath, rest, thought, spiritual discipline, and proper care. We cultivate conditions that support health, balance, resilience, and healing. This isn't about pretending that spiritual practice makes us medically immune to every illness. It is about understanding and mastering the vessel in which we presently live. And that's the reason why we're going into the bones, the organs, the sinews, the meridians, the axis and tonal lines, cymatic frequencies, body electric, and ultimately the body of light. Modern anatomy recognizes 206 bones in the typical adult skeleton. But our ancient Hebrew sages preserved another anatomical matrix. In the Mishnah Ohalot, we find 248 bodily members. And in the Bekarot, it is recorded 252 in the female body. Remember these numbers: 206, 248, and 252. Because from these numbers, another number emerges. 42. And the 42 will bring us into the Anabakos. And the 42 letter name of Yahuwah. Ultimately, we must return to Ezeki-El. And we ask, what exactly was being reconstructed in the Valley of Dry Bones? Bones give structure, but structure alone doesn't constitute a living human being. We have organs, blood, sinews, nerves, fluids, electrical activity, breath, and multiple systems communicating throughout this avatar body of light. Ancient Catharian medicine, also known as traditional Chinese medicine, gives us another ancient map. This map is the Meridian system. The 12 primary meridians, they form the 6 paired channel systems. The lung paired with the large intestine, the stomach paired with the spleen, the kidney, the kid's knees paired with the urinary bladder, the liver paired with the gallbladder, the pericardium paired with the sanjiao, aka the triple burner, and the heart paired with the small intestines. 6 pairs, 12 primary meridians, and countless of other systems. And remember our 5-element connection. The water element is the kidney and the urinary bladder, and they govern bones and marrow. Wood element represents the liver and the gallbladder, and they govern sinews and tendons. Fire is a heart and small intestine, and they govern blood, the vessels, and shin. Earth is a spleen and stomach, and they govern flesh, muscles, and nourishment. And metal represents the lung and large intestine, and they govern skin, body, hair, breath, and chi. Now let's return back to the prophet Ezeki-El chapter 37. Bones, sinews, flesh, skin, and the ruach, the breath. The avatar is an interconnected living temple. And beyond the 12 primary meridian lies another level. The 8 extraordinary vessels. We find within the 8 extraordinary vessels, they are respectively named the Dumai. The Dumai is the governing vessel. Renmai, it is the conception vessel. Chongmai, it is the penetrating vessel. Daimai, it is the girdling vessel. Then we have Yin Xiaomai, Yang Xiaomai, Yin Wei Mai, Yang Wei Mai. These are the 8 vessels. But within those 8, there are 2 that are particularly important from where we're going. The Dumai and the Renmai. Dumai follows the posterior midline, your column vertebrae, your spine. Dumai relates to the young channel system. Renmai principally follows the anterior midline, and it relates to the yin channel systems. Pay attention to what's happening here. The progression is clear. Structure becomes pathway. Pathway becomes circulation. Circulation becomes energetic regulation. So we are moving deeper into the architecture of the human vessel. As we focus upon these 2 extraordinary vessels, Dumai, governing vessel, Renmai, conception vessel, the Dumai is described as the sea of young meridians, and the Renmai is described as the sea of yin meridians, posterior and anterior, yang and yin, governing and conception. These 2 central pathways participating within a much larger energetic architecture. Psalm 139 tells us we are fearfully, reverently, and wonderfully made. But we're not studying this architecture merely to admire it. We're studying it for mastery of it. And once we have established the pathways, we have to ask, what circulates within these pathways? What is refined? This takes us into a much deeper matrix. The Zheng, the Qi, and the Shen. The ancient Catharians, aka the new TCM tradition, Zheng is essence, Qi is vital energy, and Shen is the spirit and the consciousness. And we also encounter the 3 Dantians. As I have been sharing with you the lower Dantian, beneath the umbilicus. And now we also have the middle Dantian, which is situated in the center of your chest, in the center of your breastplate. And we have the upper Dantian, which is located in the center of your 2 eyebrows, the Yang Tong point. Now we move from physical structure to pathways, from pathways to circulation, and now refinement and transformation. The cultivation traditions speak of refining Zheng into Qi and refining Qi into Shen. This is very simple. The human vessel can be cultivated, disciplined, refined, and brought toward greater coherence. In the book of Romans chapter 12, we find being transformed by the renewing of the mind. Transformation is inner work, but now we are approaching another threshold. What happens when we begin contemplating this vessel in terms of frequency, vibration, and harmonic organization? If we follow this pathway, we get the somatic frequencies and the frequencies and the axis and tonal lines. In the beginning, we were created by the Supreme Mother, Yahuwah, the Multi-Mama, the Creatrix. We were created with an energetic architecture connected with the axis and tonal lines. The Meridian architecture existed in connection with this greater architecture. And we walked in light, and we walked in power. In the Tikkun HaZohar, we read of the fall of Adam, aka Ezeki-El. And with the fall of Adam came the great disconnection, because we read that the fall of Adam caused a separation from our power, separation from our higher light body, the Adam Kadmon body of light, separation from the Supreme Mother, and separation from the Father. With the fall of Adam came disconnection. Therefore, our destination is not the invention of something new. Our destination is reconnection. A return toward the original architecture. A return toward light and power. We read of these axis and tonal lines within the pages of the keys of Enoch, the Grand Elder Yanak. Now we bring in this gnosis with everything we have already examined. 12 primary meridians, 8 extraordinary vessels, Dumai, Renmai, and now axis and tonal lines, axis, directions, tonal sounds. This is where somatic frequencies and frequencies enter this synthesis. Somatics gives us a powerful visual principle. Frequency can organize matter into pattern. Change the frequency, the pattern changes. Now, contemplate this vessel we have as a resonating system. Breath, rhythm, vibration, electrical activity, movement, biological processes, all working together. Reconnection represents a return toward harmonic coherence. And the colors surrounding this architecture reminds us of the 12 stones of the high priest's breastplate. 12 stones, 12 tribes, plus one more, which represent the Dina matrix. So remember, creation, connection, fall, disconnection, dissension, ascension, reconnection, restore a nation, restoration. And when that architecture reconnects, the circuit awakens. Now everything begins converging within one living vessel. Bones provide structure. Organs provide function. Blood circulates. Sinews connect. Meridians carry chi, jeng. The deeper vessels regulate. The internal architecture reconnects. And now, the body's electrical physiology is real. The nervous system communicates electrochemically. The heart generates measurable electrical activity. Muscles depend upon electrical excitation. Cells maintain electrical potentials, but our synthesis goes deeper. What we're looking at, we are contemplating structure, circulation, breath, chi, frequency, electrical activity, and consciousness, functioning as one increasingly coherent vessel. Now let's return back to Ezeki-El one more time. Yahuwah describes bones receiving sinews, flesh and skin. But Ezekiel 37:8 tells us there was still no Ruach Kodesh in them. There was still no breath in them. The structure was assembled, but the vessel was not fully activated. Then Ezeki-El is commanded to prophesy unto the Ruach. Ruach Kodesh enters the avatar, and then they live. Structure, circulation, pathway, frequency, breath, Ruach, one living current. And now we approach another level. The Zoharim body of light. Look carefully, family. The physical body has not disappeared. The person remains embodied. But within the physical vessel, another architecture is illuminated. This is what I identify within this gnosis as the Zoharim body of light. Remember, ascension is a return, not escape from the human vessel. Mastery of the vessel. Restoration toward light and power is the destination. And this brings us into conversation with Adam Kadmon, the primordial human archetype. Different traditions may use different languages. But we're bringing those languages into a conversation around one question. What is the complete human being? The Grand Elder King Moshiach declares that You are the light of the world. And at the transfiguration, his face is described as shining as the sun. Daniel speaks of the wise shining as the brightness of the firmament. Light, illumination, transformation. The physical vessel remains, but the inner temple becomes increasingly ordered, coherent, and illuminated. Now everything we've learned must return to the valley. Because the prophet Ezekiel wasn't merely observing, he was given command to participate. Then Yahuwah commands Ezeki-El, prophesy upon these bones. Ezeki-El speaks. Then a sound, a shaking, and bone begins coming to bone. This is where frequencies becomes particularly significant. The prophetic word is released. Sound enters the environment. Vibration precedes visible organization. And structure responds. Bone to bone came together. Sinews, flesh, skin. But there was still one thing missing. The Ruach was not in them. Then Ezeki-El prophesied again, and the Ruach enters. And now, the entire teaching converges. Let's recall the ancient matrix that the elders used, the 248. The 248 members for the male, and the 252 bones for the female, and the extra 2 the female have, they are for conception, childbearing. They are called doors and hinges, found in the book of Job and other places within the scripts. 248 takes us to our father Abraham, the great-grand elder Abraham. In the Nidarim, chapter 32b, we find that Abram corresponds to 243 members. However, when the supreme power took him from Abram to Abraham, he became 248. The additional 5, the hay, connecting the passage with mastery over his members. From Abram to Abraham, with the H, give him an additional 5, from 243 to 248. Abraham gained mastery over his avatar, body of light. 248 commandments, 365 negative commandments, lead us to 613 laws. And within this broader sacred gnosis, the 365 can be contemplated alongside the 365 days of the solar year. The 365 days of the solar year, the 365 Sinums. Now let's return to modern anatomy. 206. And we place it beside the ancient 248. We find the number 42 emerges. The Anabakos, the 42 missing bones, the 42 uncounted bones for modern anatomy. These 42 bones align with the 42 letter name of Yahuwah. 6 words across 7 rows. 42 chieftains. 42 bones. 42 sacred letter name. 42 powers. 42. The Anabakos. The prayer of the Kabbalists. We must now return to this prayer, to reintroduce this prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Anabakos. Gadolath. Yamanaka. Tathara. Sarora. Kabal Ranath. Gamaka. Shagabano. Tarano. Nora. Nagabo. Dosha. Yozodaka. Kababath. Shamram. Balkam. Taram. Rosama. Sadakathka. Thamad. Gamalam. Wazasan. Kadosh. Baro. Tobaka. Nal. Gadathka. Yauzad. Gaa Limaka. Pana. Zokara. Kadoshatka. Shawatano. Kabal. Washama. Sakathano. Yodai. Thalamoth. Baruch. Sham Kabod. Malkutho. Laolam. Wayad. From Kasad to Gabora to Tapara to Natsak to Had to Yasad to Malakoth to Balakatha. The Anabakos. The prayer of the Kabbalists. The prayer that Joshua was commended to use along with the high priest to bring down Jericho. Walk around the wall 6 times and shout on the 7th time. 6 by 7, 42. They activated the power, the chieftains within the name, and they gained mastery over themselves and conquered that city. 206 plus 248, the modern skeletal number, the ancient body matrix, the numerical 42, the Anabakos, the 42 letter name of Yahuwah. And now, reconstruction. Ezeki-El prophesies. The bones respond. The Ruach enters. And the prophet Ezekiel tells us they lived and stood upon their feet an exceedingly great army. who lived. Look at what stands before Ezeki-El. No longer fragments, no longer disconnected, no longer powerless upon the ground. They are now standing, men and women, reconstructed, restored, filled with the Ruach Kodesh. 206, 248, 252, the 42-letter name, the 613 matrix, from Abram to Abraham, mastery of his avatar, the Meridians, the 8 extraordinary vessels, Dumai, Renmai, Jiang, Qi, Shen, cymatic frequencies, oxy and tonal lines, body electric, Zoharim, body of light, and the Ruach Kodesh. But none of these is the destination by itself. The destination is wholeness, the complete vessel, the temple restored toward its original order. Ezeki-El calls what stood before him an exceeding great army. And within this teaching, I call them the great super army. This is what Yahuwah created us to be: physical, energetic, electrical, spiritual, alive. And now, family, we return to where we began. Know thyself, master thyself, nourish the temple, protect the temple, discipline the temple, learn its architecture, cultivate health, cultivate vitality, cultivate balance, and restoration. Because there's no greater knowledge than the knowledge of mastery of oneself. And finally, the supreme power above greatness declared to Ezeki-El, I shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live. You shall live from dry bones to living vessels, from disconnection to reconnection, from fragmentation to wholeness, from darkness to light, and from the valley of the dry bones to an exceedingly great army, the great super army. Yahuwah Dames, rise. Yah Shalom. Until next time. Peace.